Hi there, welcome to the Brown Lounge. I'm Holly Brown, and today I'm making a sorbet ice cream cake. Well, really, it's not ice cream, it's sorbet, but it is a cake. You're gonna love it. You may have seen on previous episodes that I've made a Ben & Jerry's ice cream cake, which is quite different. It's a little bit lighter in terms of calories, because it's sorbet instead of ice cream. We're also going to use a wonderful, beautifully rich chocolate glaze on top instead of whipping cream, so that's going to be different. And then we're also going to use a chocolate cookie crust, which again is different from the Ben & Jerry's ice cream cake. I encourage you to look at that one as well, but this is a sorbet cake that you are going to love. All you need is a spring form pan and some wonderful sorbets. The flavors are up to you. Stick around, I'm going to show you how to make it. Now the first step in making the sorbet cake is to make the crust. Now, you have a couple of options. I'm going to make the crust using these chocolate wafers, which you can buy at the grocery store. If you're interested in trying something a little bit different, you can also use Oreo cookies and smash them up. And what I like to do, just to keep the mess at a minimum, is I put them in a Ziploc bag, just like this, and this is a full 9-ounce package, and we just close it up like that, and then we smash them up. But what you want to do is you want to smash them up till they get just crumbly, like just little breadcrumbs, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar and a 1/4 cup of melted butter, and that will make up this beautiful crust that we'll put into the bottom of this springform pan. So I'm going to keep doing this until they're all crushed up, and I'll show you how to put in the sugar, the butter, and then put it into the pan. So now that all of the cookies have been crushed into these nice crumbs, I'm going to put it right back into our bowl. Like that. And I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of sugar and mix that all up. And then I have about 1/4 cup of butter, and if you need more just to get the consistency right, go ahead and do that. I'm just going to mix that up. I'm also going to save a little bit of butter here. I'm going to brush the bottom of my springform pan, sides as well. There, just like that. And we'll put all of that butter in there and mix it up. You want it to not be overly wet, but you do want it to stick together a bit. And then, once you've got that all mixed up, then you're going to take about half of it and you're going to coat the bottom of that springform pan, and that's going to make up the crust, the chocolate cookie crust of your cake. The balance will make up the middle portion of your cake. Now, once you've got the cookie crust all settled into the bottom of your springform pan, the next thing you want to do is you want to put the first layer of your sorbet. Now, if you let your sorbet sit out at room temperature until it gets a little bit soft and mushy like that, almost to the point where you could do what I'm doing here, which is to squish it right out of the pint, that's the best thing to do. Do not, and I repeat, do not microwave your sorbet. You want it to be soft enough that you can push it down and mold it into your cookie crust, but you don't want it to liquefy. You don't want to melt it at the temperature that a microwave will get it to liquefy, because once you freeze it again, which is what you're going to do to get it to be in the form that you want, It'll create ice crystals and it'll have sort of just an off taste. So you want to make sure that you're just letting it sit out at room temperature, but again, not microwaving it to get it to that soft, malleable texture that you want to put over your cookie crumbs. So the first layer that I've chosen here is one of my favorites. It's pineapple coconut Häagen-Dazs. But again, feel free to choose whatever sorbet flavors you like. I would definitely choose something that has two different flavors that have contrasting colors, because that just makes it a very pretty presentation. The pineapple coconut will look really pretty against the raspberry sorbet on top. So then I'm just going to push this down very gently. Okay, so once we've got our ice cream all nice and evenly spread across the top of that initial cookie layer, just like that, we're going to put one more cookie layer on top, and then we're going to freeze. So we just layer it on, just like that. It's going to be delicious. So we use 2 pints of sorbet on the bottom layer. And once this is firmly frozen, we'll be able to put 2 more pints on top, and then we'll freeze that layer. And once all of the ice cream is completely frozen, then we'll take it out of the springform pan and we'll put on a beautiful bittersweet chocolate glaze, which will be the grand finale. Alrighty, now as you can see, the first layer of sorbet, which was the pineapple coconut sorbet, is nice and hard, and the cookie crust is hard on top of that. And we've let the raspberry sorbet melt, so we're going to just pour that on, just like that. And again, as we did with the first layer, we're just going to press it down. So you can see I'm just going to make this as flat and even as possible, so that when we put the glaze on the top, everything is even. And this will go into the freezer one more time before putting the glaze on, so that the raspberry can set and get completely hard before I unpack it from the springform pan. And glazing will be the last step before serving. Now, while the sorbet cake is freezing, I'm going to make the glaze. And the glaze is a wonderful combination of some very simple, just deliciously rich ingredients. So right here over medium heat, I have melting a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter. And to that, I'm going to add 4 ounces of really wonderful fine chocolate. This is Ghirardelli chocolate. You can choose whatever kind of chocolate you want. But remember, the finer the chocolate, the better the glaze, and that will be delicious. Then I'm going to put 1/2 tablespoon of corn syrup and let that all melt together. Once it all melts and it becomes smooth and all incorporated, I'm going to add a teaspoon of raspberry extract, and that'll be a really nice addition to the glaze. Once all of the layers of sorbet are done and they're all layered into the springform pan, then I'm going to release the springform pan and I'm going to pour this beautiful glaze over the top. But I need to let it cool first, so we're going to let it all melt and incorporate. I'll let it cool, and then it'll be ready to put on the top of that beautiful sorbet cake. Well, here we are, the last step of this beautiful sorbet cake. So I'm just going to unhinge the cake, and now what I like to do is just to push it up gently from the sides. Beautiful. And the wonderful thing about an ice cream cake or a sorbet cake like this is that you can put it back in the freezer if you need to. This one just broke off a little bit on the side, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my offset spatula to push it in a bit, just like that. Lovely. And then I'm going to put the whole bottom. That's the beauty of this style of cake pan, is that you can retain that bottom bit and just put it directly onto your cake plate. And I'm just going to pour this beautiful glaze over the top, and then I'll spread it with my offset spatula, just like that. And then I'm going to put this back in the freezer for at least 10 minutes, just to make sure that the glaze is set as well. But you could actually put this into the freezer for, you could do it overnight. If you were doing the cake the night before, perfectly fine. And you might be able to see here, but as I'm starting to spread the glaze, the cool, or actually the frozen cold of the raspberry sorbet is already setting and freezing the glaze. And I'm not going to let it run over. I'm just going to put it right on the top so that you can see the raspberry layer. You can see the cookies kind of infused with the pineapple coconut sorbet. And there you have it, a beautiful, fresh, homemade sorbet cake. I encourage you, like I said, to also check out our Ben & Jerry's ice cream cake, which is just as beautiful, but probably quite a bit richer, but also just as wonderful in terms of taste. This is a wonderful summer dessert. Makes a great dads and grads gift, any kind of birthday cake. And as you can see, it's pretty easy to make. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Brown Lounge. I hope you'll visit us again sometime. And don't forget, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We have lots of fun things going on, lots of events as well. So you can always keep up with us on all of our social channels. I hope you visit the Brown Lounge again. I hope you try this beautiful cake and enjoy all the things that we're cooking. Enjoy them with your friends at home as well.